Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalitan Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanostute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishvanebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. So last
Krishna,
class,
jai. Mhm.
last class we did not have, was last week Ramanavami Prabhu?
No, we had class last week.
Oh, we had class. Oh, yes, Prabhu. We had class last week. So last week, I think we discussed 14th chapter, 21, and then we discussed the 22 to 25 verse, Prabhu. I didn't write the extra quotes note, but I read the purport, Prabhu.
Okay.
So at least I could get the connecting dots for this class. So 21st verse, so was it's similar to how the Sthita Prajna section. So like right now in 14th chapter talks about the modes of the material nature. We talked about Rajoguna, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. What are the characters? How does the person work in that character? What is the result they will get if they are working in that character? And everything was discussed. And then now is the point where Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, saying that how do I know what are the symptoms of this person who has transcendented these modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend these modes? So this was the one that he said, like similar to our chapter 2, how Arjuna is asking, like he's asking, really curious or inquiring Krishna to know how does the person behave. So this 21st chapter, just the same kind of points goes over. And then the 22nd to 25 verse, the lists of characters, then how Krishna describes how does a person behave. It's also similar to our 13th chapter, that 8 to 12. Very similar characters, but the characters first, they said like uh, he has no envy, does not hanker for anything. And he says that, okay, I'm living in this material body, embodied in this material. It is understood that it is a control of one of the three modes of the material nature. When he is actually out of the body, he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But oh, yeah, I understood this. But as long as he is in the body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. Oh, yeah. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body when he does that. One of the characters. And then another character is unwavering and undisturbed through the reactions. Whenever the reactions happen, he says that, okay, that is a mercy of Krishna. Maybe like mercy of Krishna for giving an opportunity to think more of Krishna and trying to burn out our karma. It's all mercy of Krishna. That's how that person thinks. And regard is the same in distress, happiness. And also he looks at the lump of earth and the stone, the same thing, similar to our karma yoga chapter. That I think this was in Lopo Kanchana, I don't know, fifth chapter, Prabhu, I forgot. And then desirable, undesirable. Okay, the next question concerns with the transcendentally situated. Oh yeah, honor, dishonor, mana, apamana, everything is the same. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether an honor or dishonor comes to him. He treats both friend and enemy the same. He attempts anything for Krishna, but for personal self, he does not attempt anything. Such a behavior, one becomes actually transcendental to the modes and is situated above the modes. So that's all, Prabhu. I just read the purport and I had few notes, Prabhu. Those are the two
Wonderful.
verse bunch
No.
of 3-4 verses we discussed last time.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. Jay, we can go ahead. Join. Oh, yeah. Join. Okay, go ahead. Ji.
Oh,
You can
nobody
do it.
joined. Nobody joined, Prabhu.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
Okay, I will read, Prabhu.
Read.
I
Yeah.
can read, Prabhu. Maybe I'll open it up. Page
It is the
14.26.
last two verses of the chapter.
26 and 27, Prabhu.
Mhm.
मां च यो अव्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते स गुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते. Oh, this is a very famous verse, no, Prabhu. Synonyms. Mam,
Gopal
unto
used to
me.
quote it very, very often. Ma'am, Bicharena.
Yeah, the Avyabhicharina. Yeah. This also comes in that 9th chapter, Prabhu, at the end. This word.
Vyabhichari, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Mam, unto me, cha also, yeah, a person who, avyabhicharena, without fail, bhakti yogena, by devotional service, sevate, renders service, sa, he, gunan, the modes of material nature, samatitya, transcendenting, etan, all these, brahma bhuyaya, elevated to the Brahman platform, kalpate, becomes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of the material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spells of the mode of the material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of the nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna's activities. Krishna's activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna but his different plenary expansions such as Rama, Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, and full of knowledge and eternal. Such personalities of the Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of the material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme. As the gold particles are part of the gold mine, thus the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, devotees is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotees is there. Therefore, the individuality of the two persons is present in Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning of Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from all material contaminations. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmaiva Syan Brahma Yeti. One can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, thanks so much, Fuji. Jay, any thoughts on this verse before discuss?
Sorry, Prabhu, I just joined. Prabhu, I was just
No
listening to
worries.
Vijay. Vijay,
It
verse
is like
number again, if you don't mind.
26.
26. Okay, thank
26.
you.
Mhm.
Prabhu, it is like it is talks about a couple of things I understood is that Prabhu attaining that Brahman stage, which means it doesn't mean that we are going to be one with the Lord. Like then we are still we hold our individuality. That's what it explains. Like if there is no individuality there, like how the living entity and the supreme, there is no exchange, there is no bhakti yoga.
Okay.
And then what else I understand? One who adaivi esha gunamayi, again, right, Prabhu, like who one who surrenders and then who can overcome the transcendental modes of the material nature. And that the analogy was like, okay, you are being an assistant to the king, to get the qualification to be an assistant. So you attain yourself to that level, and that's what it's been talked here.
Okay. Yes.
That's all I understand, Prabhu.
Oh, wonderful.
I know this is often misunderstood verse, Prabhu. I Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate.
Yes. Yeah. There's one more verse in 18th chapter also.
Okay.
Brahmabhuta Prasannatma na Shuchiti na Kankisi.
Yes.
So,
It's
yeah.
okay.
But so on this point, Brahma Bhuyaya, so Baldev Vidyabhushan gives very nice answer to this, the misunderstanding part. So we'll discuss about that also. Okay. I think. Okay. So let's saying here after discussing everything. Remember how many
One
questions?
question can I ask, Prabhu? Sorry.
Yes.
No, Krishna, this is not a Bhakti Yoga verse.
This
Or
is a Bhakti Yoga
because,
verse.
yeah, okay, because he says Bhakti Yogena Sevate Mamcha yo full Vyabhacharena. Without
Abhyabhichari
saying
basically means undeviated.
undeviated. Then Krishna should say Mat Gati, you'll come to my. Why is he saying Brahma Bhuyaya
Yeah.
Kalpate,
Yeah.
right? So that's what you're going to talk. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
We'll talk about that also.
Okay, Jai.
Yeah. Wonderful. So remember how many questions did Arjuna ask? Basically,
3, Prabhu.
Three.
three, right? दो का आंसर मिला है. Told it answer for two. What was the third question? Remaining question was
How
how
does
does
it transcend?
perfect. Thank you. Yes. The answer is here. Meeting for 14/26. Mam cha यह जो that person who abhyabhichare with abhyabhichare basically means undeviated, with undeviated bhakti yogena, with bhakti yoga sevate the service unto me mam, one who does undeviated service in bhakti yoga to me, sagunan samati atitaitan. Atita basically means what? Beyond. Hmm? Samati sama atita means completely beyond. Right? So we say gunatit, right? Gunadhish, gunatit, with right? Gunadhin. So Sagunan samatitaitan. Completely the person transcends and attains what? Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, becomes Brahman platform. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Okay. So that is the basic meaning of the verse given. Okay. And as we know, this is the reply to the third question of Arjuna, how to one transcend. So Krishna did not specify anything about Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, nothing. It's Bhakti Yoga. That word Bhakti Yoga is actually used in this text. Okay. So let's first, Prabhupada, very nicely given. Let's see Bhaktivedanta Bhushan Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also. Okay. Very beautifully, very nicely explained. So they explain that first the word cha. Yeah, right? Mam cha. So cha usually means and. Right? So and, but it also sometimes, depending on the context, it also means only. Okay, so they say that here, cha means eva, only. So one who only serves me, only serves me with bhakti yoga. Okay. Okay. That person alone is qualified to reach the stage of Brahman or realizing Brahman. Okay, we'll talk about that later, what that means. But okay, and Krishna again, this very beautiful verse in Bhagavatam also, Bhaktayam ekaya grahya. 11, 14, 21. Bhaktayam ekaya grahya. Only by bhakti I can be attained. Krishna says there also, in Uddhav Gita. 11, 14, 21. Right? And he also said in 7th chapter, the verse Krishna said was, Maya mitam tarantite. Mam eva prapadyante mayam. So Krishna has already mentioned that also. So what is the confirmation? All these words that without bhakti one cannot transcend the modes. Does that make sense? Without bhakti, one cannot transcend the modes. Okay. So now one can question what bhakti yoga is this? It should be abhyavicharena, undeviated, unadulterated. So what is the definition of uttama bhakti?
Anya Abhilashi.
No? फिर
ज्ञानकर्मादि अनावृतम
Jnana Ganapati Anavritam should not be mixture. So bhakti should be without the covering of jnana and karma and etc. Etc. also includes bhakti. Etc. means Varnashram. Etc. means Dhyana Yoga. Etc. means so many other things. They're there. So it should be not the bhakti should not be a mixture of karma and jnana. Okay. Now why is that? Because in Bhagavad also Krishna Bhagavan say in Bhagavad Gita that but after performing karma yoga, after performing jnana yoga, to reach the effect or to really reach the result of jnana yogi, basically to reach the result, one has to surrender the jnana. So let me share my screen. Yeah, okay. Because in Shastra there are statements rejecting Nishkam karma, reject karo, Nishkam karma. And there are statements saying reject even jnana by jnana in the final stage. So this verse is okay. Oh, okay. This is Veda. This Jnanam cha mai sannyasit. Right? So, person who has done, for impulse speculation, should surrender unto me both that knowledge and the means by which he has achieved it. So, they means for Jnana Yogi, they say statement, there are statements of surrendering the Jnana itself. For Karma Yogi, so the Nishkam Karma Yoga, that kind of statements are also present. But there's no statements saying reject Bhakti Yoga or and then we get something. No. Rejecting Jnana is there. Means is also there. Isham Karma Yoga is also there. Statements are there. But never, nothing but Bhakti Yoga, rejection Bhakti Yoga. So thus, after giving up Jnana Yoga, the Jnani surpasses the Gunas by Bhakti Yoga. So basically, without Bhakti Yoga, even a Jnana Yogi cannot get the result. Without Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yogi cannot get the result. And this is very nicely taken up by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his first chapter of Madhuri Kadambini. Because you should read. Or maybe in our morning reading we can read again. This thing is mentioned. How he explains verses saying that without bhakti, presence of bhakti, karma cannot get the result, jnana cannot get the result, ashtanga cannot get the result. Either of nothing. But in bhakti has to be there. Okay? So this is what it means. So, and Ananya Bhakta is always beyond the gunas. How? Because another verse, Ananya Bhakta, Abhyabhicharani Bhaktas. So this verse is here. He says that Nirguno mad apashaya. Right? But what who has taken shelter of me is understood to be transcendental to the modes of nature. Right? So here, he's saying a worker free of attachment, mode of goodness mein hai. By personal desire, mode of passion, who has completely forgotten how to tell right from wrong, mode of ignorance, but one has taken shelter of me. Mam eva ye prapadyante. They're already by beyond the modes of nature. Right? So, Krishna is saying here, even for a Jnana yogi to get to perfection, they have to give up Jnana and Jnana process and then take a bhakti to get the result. Okay. to get the result, right? Same for Karma Yogi. But for Bhakti Yogi, which is sadhaka, just because in a sadhaka stage itself, the person becomes beyond the gunas. That's the meaning of this particular verse. Taking shelter of Bhagwan. Right? That is the potency of Bhakti Yoga, right? So, does it make sense? This is the explanation given by Shri Vishnu Jagat Thakur. Now, Shabaldeva
Prabhu,
Bhushan
one
goes,
second, Prabhu. Sorry,
yes,
sadhaka, in the stage of sadhaka only he becomes what you said?
Bhagavad is as good as, because the person who takes shelter of Jnana Yoga to teach the result of Jnana Yoga has to perform
Uh-huh.
bhakti afterwards.
Yes.
But
Yes.
sadhaka who already taken shelter and perform bhakti yoga at the very start. So it's as good as,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
Or we could say they are very much further in the process of Jnana Yogi.
Mm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, we have to, I'm beyond the gunas. No, not like that. But we are way ahead in surpassing that gunas because we are taking shelter of Bhagan already. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Now, Chabaldev Bhushan says, okay, again, goes back to the verse, very beautifully says. So, he says that, how can you take, I mean, unless Krishna is beyond the gunas, how can taking shelter of him, if Krishna is not beyond the gunas, but taking off shelter of him, one can be beyond the gunas? Doesn't make any sense, right? So Krishna is saying basically that I am beyond the gunas. I am not touched by the gunas. I am the master control of Maya. But he has to, Krishna Bhagavan has told this verse in 14th chapter Maya mein Prapadyante. Then I think in 7th chapter mein also he says before also. Fifth chapter, I think so. He tells that I am the controller of the material energies. From me comes material energies. It's the fifth chapter, I think so. He says that. Let's take it into the verse. Okay. PG 556.
I think it was 9.4, Prabhu.
9th chapter.
No, that is different.
Oh, okay.
मैं कुछ देख कर गया चल मैं maybe that's हो सकता है not if not 9.4 तो नहीं है symbols I'm just trying to see नहीं here let me just go check man पे oh sorry not here I think the same chapter में let's see sorry नहीं ये it comes a bit before sorry I'm just curious to find out now sorry yeah नहीं this is one verse um also being goodness passionless I manifested by my energy. Okay, I am not on the modes of material nature, for they are contrary are within me. I'm repeated. This is just before Devi Isha Kudamai. This Devi Isha Kudamai verse. Before the Krishna says here, 12th verse. Mein. Okay. Uh, Again, Krishna is saying the multiple verses. We talks about that. So now, uh, Krishna he says that Krishna is saying by taking shelter of me and by performing only bhakti yoga towards me, bhakti yoga towards me, the person transcends the gunas which are difficult to surpass. And then what happens? Is where Brahma Bhuyaya. The person attains what? The inherent nature, Brahma Bhuyaya. He attains the qualities of Atma. So there are 8 qualities of Atma. 8 qualities. No sin, no death, no old age, no hunger, no thirst, no lamentation, fully truthful, and all desires are aptakama. What to say? What to say? Satya Sankalpa. All desires automatically satisfied. 8 qualities: no sin, no death, no age, no old age, no hunger, no thirst, no lamentation, fully truthful, and then all desires are be fulfilled. So Brahma Bhuya that living entity attains the platform or realizes the Atma. Basically, understand these qualities. Okay? Then under. Now going forward on that, Brahma Bhuya, right? Why is Brahma, why Krishna saying Brahma Bhuya Kalpate? By that I mentioned, right? My Param Gatim attends me, whatever, right? So now Krishna basically mentions that because he words Bhakti Yoga, but what is the main um, principle of Bhakti Yoga? Inherent difference between Jiva and Bhagwan. Yes? Unlike Jnana Yoga, right? Bhakti Yoga differentiates between Jiva and Bhagwan, right? So when he says Kalpate attains Brahma Bhuyaya, the person, the Jiva realizes the Swarupa, inherent nature, the form of Jiva. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Prabhu. So he realizes his
Out
constitutional
Swarupa. Because
state.
Bhakti Yoga I mentioned, Bhakti Yoga may, you cannot, doesn't, that's not the policy, that's not the philosophy of Bhakti Yoga, right? है कि नहीं?
Yeah.
So here Swarupa of Jiva is attained because it's the difference between Bhagwan and Jiva. Now, previously the Lord has said multiple times in 8.5, Samad Bhavam Yati, Mad Bhavam, Mad Bhavam Asa Adhirachati. So Krishna has told multiple times. So basically all these verses, Krishna is saying that the person attains self-liberation and yet remains separate from me. They are all Bhakti Yoga verses. Right? So they're inherent, even the Brahma Bhuya I mentioned, there's a inherent difference between Jiva and Bhagwan mentioned directly. Now you will find the many verses in Upanishads saying that the same hota hai. Niranjana Paramam Samyam. Being free of contamination, the Jiva attains similarity, Samyam, with, with Supreme. अरे ये तो oneness है हो गया oneness हो गया ना मतलब बराबर है
Qualitative oneness.
हाँ नहीं if you just take it oneness बताया है कि नहीं but how
हाँ,
to create oneness because you have to say that there are other verses in Upanishad we say that the Jiva is separate like Supreme is Vibhu great yeah small right so this difference also Upanishads many Upanishads have differentness mentioned as difference also mentioned. What these Jnana Yogis they do, they take the oneness part saying that this is the important one, others are secondary. And there are who says everything separate, they take the separate part as prominent and say oneness was secondary. Does that make sense? So they take one and say it is prominent and other secondary. But we have Upanishad cannot be like that. You have to look at the holistic way. The same be a different be. मतलब क्या है? That comes naturally. अरे ये तो भेदा by simultaneous oneness and difference. It's natural for that understanding. If you don't take any partial views. So here it means what does it mean here? Brahma Bhuta means the jiva attains a state in which the jiva manifests 8 qualities and remains distinct from the Lord. Does that make sense? Brahma Bhuya means
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, can you repeat the last sentence, please?
yeah. The Brahma means the jiva attains self-liberation yet remains distinct from the Lord. There's no merging aspect. कुछ नहीं होता. मैं भक्ति योगा से तो ये कृष्ण से भक्ति योगा ने सेवते ब्रह्म भूया कल्पते अटेन्स ब्रह्म ब्रह्मन स्टेज बाय भक्ति योगा तो भक्ति योगा का मतलब ही है कि इंडियन डिफरेंस तो ब्रह्म भूमय हियर मींस द जीवा अटेन्स ए सेपरेट आइडेंटिटी और स्टिल रिमेन सेपरेट फ्रॉम भगवान बट अटेन्स स्वरूपा unless you understand what is the eternal nature.
Yes,
Does it make sense?
Prabhu.
Very nicely. Shabandavita Vishwas mentioned. Okay. And actually, you would say those right, Jnani say right, become merge with Brahman, right? So, Jiva Goswami mentions that a Jiva cannot never merge fully with Brahman. Impossible. Bureau, right? Chapter number 2, Bhagavad chapter number 2. Remember? Remember? कहाँ पे है? Where does it say that Jiva is always eternal?
It can't be destroyed. It's
उसके पहले
अन्यतेन हनिमनिषे No,
before
उसके
that.
पहले वासांसि जीर्णानि Sorry, Prabhu.
No, no. So, chapter number 2, one of the very first verses of the Atma Gyan section. Yep, right here. Nattvebaham jatunasham nattam neme janadipa. There's never a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall I cease to be.
Yeah.
So when you say merge, तो बोलते हैं ना merge होता है तो Jiva Goswami gives a very nice analogy. It's a green parrot entering a tree full of green leaves. Can you make out the parrot?
No.
No. It's like that. But the parrot is still distinct, right? It seems, अरे मिल गया है. But parrots is still distinct, right, from the leaves. Just like that. Right? So this never happens. Sorry. So, but this makes sense. So there's the one understanding. So now we're missing, लेकिन why full notion is attain Brahman, right? So to clarify his position, clarify Krishna's position as Brahman, okay, if you think that Brahman means that, let me clarify that position in different way. Then the last verse, next verse comes. Krishna shows his position in relation to Brahman. Does it make sense? Someone still has question to Shira Bhakti given this reasoning, this understanding that Brahma Bhuya Bhakti Yoga matlab, there's a difference in between Jiva and Bhagwan. That's the philosophy. They cannot be Aikyam. They cannot be oneness. Brahma Bhuya, that cannot mean, it cannot mean that. But those two still have some doubt. Brahma Bhuya बताया है. To clarify the position, Krishna says the last verse of the chapter. A very beautiful verse, one of the most quoted verses by Srila Prabhupada. Very often quoted verses. Okay? Hey, Sharmya. Hey,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna. So, with the last verse of the chapter, okay, but very beautiful verses. Anyone like to read the verse? Okay, thank you.
One second, Prabhu. ब्राह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्याव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च. Synonyms: Brahmanaha, of the impersonal Brahma Jyotir. Certainly. Pratishtha, the rest. Aham, I am. Amritasya, of the immortal. Avyayasya, of the imperishable. Cha, also. Shashvatasya, of the eternal. Cha, and. Dharmasya, of the constitutional position. Sukhasya, of happiness. Aikantikasya, ultimate. Cha, also. Translation: and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahma, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Purport: the constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the second stage in the transcendental realization. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, and that is the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to that material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to the Paramatma realization, and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. But, sorry, The, there are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further, with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Raso Vaisa Rasam Hi Evayam Labhvanandi Bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. The Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king, and so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this, he falls down. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of material nature, but association with material nature entangles him with the different modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these three modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering the prescribed nine methods for realizing devotional service, should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the loving service in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord had his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with his devotees, chant always the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, and observe the fasting days commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyotir or the different varieties of the Brahman conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the three modes of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Jai. Thank you so much. Very nicely read. Any thoughts, anything? It's a long purport, but
Very beautiful purport, Prabhu.
yeah. As because
I
as
like how Prabhupada says it's very simple. You just do these things. He gives very specific things to do.
yeah, there is some
Then,
Bhakti of Sindhu.
yeah,
There are games of Bhakti. Some of them. Yeah. But some of the new Bhakti is mentioned here. All of them are limbs, but of 64, some of them he mentioned directly. Yes. Nothing else to share?
I got reminded of the Brahmeti Vadanti Tattvavidas.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Brahmiti Paramamiti
Bhavan iti
Bhagavan
Shaktite.
iti Shakti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all one. Advayam. Right? Advaitutva, right? They're all one, but they're different. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Vishwanath Thakur has given an amazing commentary on this. We'll read you through that. Beautiful commentary. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the verse first, okay? Brahmana, impersonal Brahman, he, certainly, Patishta Aham, I am the Patishta, I am the shelter of Brahman. Hmm? And what is that? What is the Brahman? What is that stage? Amritasya, immortal, beyond. Okay? And Abhyaya, imperishable. Or जो person Abhyayatma. Krishna says in 4th chapter, right? I'm imperishable. The soul. Abhyasya cha. And Shashvatasya. Shashvat, eternal. Okay? Dharmasya, or constitutional position. Sukhasya ekantikasya. Right? So he's giving the different aspects or different qualities of that stage, Brahman stage. Okay? So if that is a stage of Brahman, this who Krishna is, we could say. It's like a Kimuta. Okay? What about? Just think. That is the verse. Okay? Now Vishwanath Thakur gives very beautiful, and he has a very nice way of presenting. He asks questions and gives answer. For example, the question I had, but why would the devotee attain impersonal Brahman? Which are called for persons who are practicing, ज्ञान yoga, right? They want to merge. तो करना क्या मतलब? भी तो भक्ति क्या मेन ज्ञान yoga, right? This is because Krishna says, I am also the basic famous Brahman. Krishna says, if you don't attain Brahman, also no problem. I can give you that also. I can give you that also, Krishna says. So there's a verse in Bhagavatam. कौन सा verse है? Then, hmm, oh, I find the verse. Okay. I think so. Liberation easily. Make it again. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the verse. Very beautiful verse. No, not this one. Sham. Okay, I want to find this verse. Okay, fine. I try to find the verse. So Krishna says basically in Bhagavad the verse mentions that okay, I think this is the one. Mukti Vidati Karichit Smara Bhakti Yogam. This is in 5, 6, 18. This is Rajan Patir. This is actress of Lord Rishabhadev. This is the last time, this is the one. It says Muktim Dadati Karichit Smana Bhakti Yoga. Mukti Dadati Karichit. Mukti में क्या होगा? Mukti चाहिए ले लो. No problem. Smana Bhakti ये होगा. मतलब Bhakti, that is Bhakti, मतलब प्रेम Bhakti is very वो तो शायद tough है. Mukti चाहिए ले लो. Take it. See, Krishna gives liberation very easily, but does not give the opportunity to act service prema to very, very easily. That's not, it's not, it's very valuable compared to liberation, I would say. So the point was, Krishna saying, I am the basis of the famous Brahman. I am the basis of everything. Therefore, even the impersons must worship me to attain Brahman. Right? And the other thing is, even the demons. So not all of them, let me just share. This is, hopefully this is relevant. Let me just share my screen. किधर गया? Oh, here. Maybe we can see my screen. Okay? No, I can see myself. Okay, here. Can you see here?
Yes,
Ah,
Prabhu.
if I can see it. It said that the enemies and the dear friends of Lord are the same end. This is in the Bhagavatam verse, Narmani's mention. It means the same end only in the sense that Brahman and the personal form of Krishna are one entity. Advayam. They are one entity, right? There's a sun, there's a sun, and one. So it says that even the demons attain the same destination in the verse says as the devotees. तो ये ऐसे कैसे हो गया? Okay, what does it mean? Then he says, Brahman eva layam yanti prayena vipavo hare. The enemies of the Lord generally merge into impersonal Brahman. Prayena means generally. The word prayena means generally. Some of them, though they attain semblance of form to the Lord, they remain absorbed in happiness of Brahman. So kechik prapyapi sarupya abhasam. But some attain sarupya abhasam, semblance of sarupya, but still majjanti tat sukhem, majjanti tat Brahman sukham. Basically saying even Krishna can give, see here, Siddha Lokas, beyond Prakriti, they are demons killed by the Lord and some sages dwell, merge happiness of Brahman. So by Bhagavan can give Brahman realization also. He's not confined to a Brahman. Bhagavan matlab you can really give Sarupya, not Brahman. No, you can give Brahman also. That's why he's saying Brahmano Pratishta Aham. I'm the basis of impersonal Brahman. Right? So Pratishtha means shelter. That upon which something standing firmly or it dwells within. Okay? So, I am the basis or shelter of nectar. Amritasya. The verse is right. Amritasya avyayasya cha. I am the basis of that shelter, the nectar. Okay? और मैं चक्रु का ask a question. Oh, does that mean the nectar of Swarga? Arey, this no. Indestructible nectar. Avyasya. It is indestructible. Swarga nectar is destructible. Therefore, Amrita means liberation. I am the basis of liberation. And I am the basis of the eternal method. मतलब क्या है शाश्वतस्य धर्मस्य धर्मम the path and the eternal method and the basis of that path also, right? Both these stages of dharma and perfection. So basically that bhakti, I am the basis of that bhakti, the path of liberation, the path of liberation, and the basis of that path and base from me comes bhakti hoga, I give bhakti hoga, from me comes bhakti hoga, my energy, and base of liberation and the base of the method to attain that bhakti also, and the basis of happiness, of prema, sukhasya, okay, and base of the happiness also. And because everything is dependent on me, he worships me with any desire. अगर कुछ चाहिए, if you want to merge with me, Brahman, that also I can give because I am because everything. From becomes everything anyway. It's a kalpa vriksha tree. Okay, does that make sense? So she's a Swami, one of the acharyas, one of the first commentators. Krishna says, I am the base of Brahman. Krishna says that I am the condensed Brahman. Brahman को condense करो. Because I am that. Okay? So that is Krishna is Brahman the form. Okay? He gives out alternate meaning to that. Now he gives on to give so many different explanations or verses to prove the particular point. Okay? Uh, in Hari, one of the words he quotes is from Harivamsha. Harivamsha Puran. It's a supplementary to Mahabharata. He says that Supreme Brahma illuminates the entire universe and know that the condensed light belongs to me. This is Bhagavan speaking to Arjuna in Harivamsha Puran. So he gives many, you would say, verses in this regard. Okay? Let me see something else. Um,
Prabhu, sorry, Prabhu, are you recording today's class?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And one question, Prabhu, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verse that you showed, what
Mhm.
1.2 point? Jiva Goswami's comment.
1 to 278.
Okay.
There is the starting of Raganuga section.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, so there's a Acharya called Madhusudan Saraswati. He was impersonalist. But then once he went to Vrindavan, and impersonalists, right? They are Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. There is a top. Once he went to Vrindavan, and for whatever reason, Bhagavan caused mercy, he got Krishna Bhagavan. Now, when he came back, the disciple said, Guruji, kuch kahiye. And he gave a very beautiful verse. Okay? Let me share the verse. So, okay. Let me share my screen, okay? A very, very beautiful verse. Please change the thought process. Okay? This story. So basically what happens? Someone asked him, are you Brahman? Yes. So you're deriving, and he used to defeat other scholars, right? To get. So you're saying, so you derive happiness from defeating other Brahman? ये कैसे हो सकता है? तो बोला, है बात तो बराबर है, right? So he went to Vrindavan, and after he wrote called Bhakti Rasayan, and it's a very famous verse. वंशी भूषित करा नवनीर दाभात पीतांबरा अरुण बिंब फलाधरोष्ठात पूर्णेन सुंदर मुखारविंद रेतात कृष्णार्पित कृष्णात् परम किमपि तत्वम अहम न जाने. तो वहाँ बड़ी बड़ी तत्वम असि, राइट? वंशी विभूषित करान, वंशी विभूषित, yes, beautiful वंशी, करान नवनीर दाभात, and hand is decorated with what? Navneet, butter and bhat, rice. Okay? Pitambara, nice, beautiful dress, Pitambara. Aruna Bimba, very reddish, this is dawning sun, right? Phala Adhurusha, the lips are like very beautiful reddish lips. Purnendu Sundara, Purna Indu Sundara, Mukha Arvindarat. His phone is like the fully blossom, the full moon. Purna Indu Sundara, beautiful. Mukha Arvinda Netrat, beautiful lotus eyes. And Krishnat Param Tattvam Kimapi. And what? Krishnat Param Kimapi Tattvam. I don't know anything about Krishna. The exact transformation from impersonalist to personalist. Mutsun Saraswati. Right? That the Krishna has the power to attract a person who is in that stage. Shukadeva Goswami. Right? Situated in Brahman platform. But hearing few words of Bhagavatam, immediately attracted. Bhagavatam has that capacity, and Bhagwan has that capacity to drag a person who's sitting in the Brahman platform towards him. But when it's a Brahman platform, the person has to be in his body. Once the person leaves the body, attains Brahman, not a Mayavadi, is fixed. Bhagwan has the potential to attract. So Shukadeva Goswami was that he was totally fully satisfied himself. He had no relation outside world, absolutely nothing. Still, those descriptions of Bhagwan attracted that person of that caliber, that stage. So Bhagwan is even higher than the particular stage, right? Has to be. In that connection, Popat quotes his verse, right? So, sorry, Bhakti Saraswati. He composed a verse in this commentary to this particular verse. It says, Prakrita Manodvandvam Param Brahma Narakriti Saundarya Sara Sarvaswam Mande Nandatmajam Maha. It says, Vande Nandatmajam, I often respect to Nanda, Nanda Atmajam, who is what? He is, what do you say, joy personified. And the very essence of all beauty, Saundarya Sara Sarvaswam, he is the essence of all Saundarya beauty. He is Brahma Narakriti, he is the supreme Brahman human form. And Prakrita Manodundam, he is beyond dualities of the mind. This is the glorification he gives to the purport of the particular verse. Right? So, this Brahman is the shelter, or from Krishna comes the Brahman. That would say the race, Brahma Yoti, Krishna is the source. Okay? And in this connection, Prabhupada quotes this verse. That verse quoted by Prabhupada Vidhabhushan. इसको कहाँ पे गया? Chaturpanishad, yeah. Raso vai saha. Raso vai saha. Saha, that person, vai is rasa. The person is rasa. Rasam hi evayam labdhva anand bhavati. And once you obtain that rasa, then you get happiness. We want happiness, everyone wants happiness. But to obtain the happiness, you have to attain rasa. And what is the rasa? Bhagavan himself. To attain rasa, happiness to attained. Right? So rasam hi evayam labdhva anandi bhavati. So Krishna is that beautiful form who is rasa personified, joy personified, bliss personified. Right? Just like we touch ice, we get feel cold because cold is inherent to that nature of ice. Because joy is touch Krishna, touch anything related to Krishna. Right? So the person of bhakti is also Bhagavan's energy. It's Krishna. So when we feel bhakti ras, we are coming in contact with Krishna. And that rasa then gives us happiness. We feel happiness. In the process of bhakti, happiness is there, right? Because when you do bhakti properly, then we get Rishmata Bhakti Ras. And the Bhakti Ras is only with Krishna. Right? And when we contact with Krishna, of course we get happiness. That's natural byproduct. Right? So, coming back to question, the point here, Krishna is saying, whatever you want, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yeta purusham. Whatever akama, you don't have any desire, sarva kamo va, akama sarva kamo va, और कुछ डिजायर नहीं है, डिजायर बहुत से डिजायर है, मोक्ष काम, इफ यू मोक्ष काम, तीव्र भक्ति होगी, भक्ति होगी, वो मिल जाएगा, कर लो, कम टू मी, कृष्ण सिंह, तीव्र भक्ति योगी ये था पुरुषम परम. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Anything on this? Chakradipad finishes saying that this chapter explains the misfortune of being bound by the gunas and the satisfaction in being free of the gunas by bhakti. Right? Misfortune, starting with the misfortune, but all we have to go through, and the happiness of getting freed from all these gunas by bhakti. This is how he summarizes the entire chapter. Okay. Any questions? Anything?
So the story of Madhusudan
Saraswati.
Krishna. Saraswati comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu?
No,
or-
no, no.
No?
He's a
Okay.
different person. Actually, he has different history. So he was contemporary of Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu. Okay, okay.
He wanted to be Mahaprabhu, but he could not be Mahaprabhu. Whenever he used to go, Mahaprabhu was somewhere else. Finally went to Varanasi and then he studied. And he used to be such an amazing scholar. People used to, Hare, Madhusudan Saraswati aa gaya, chalo, 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 chalo. Anyone say, start and you defeat. He is extremely scholarly.
There's one more Digvijay or someone like that.
No,
Right?
Digvijay Pandit is a,
Oh, he's different. Okay, sorry.
yeah. Digvijay means what? One who has conquered all directions. You could say its name or a title also. That's different.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, I
No,
understood.
no.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any questions? Thought anything else before we move to the next chapter? one of the shortest chapters. I think the famous 12th chapter. Once, twice, thrice. Okay. So Ramya, do you have any questions? Just to make sure.
Not yet, Prabhu. It's little bit going over my head,
Also,
but I
you should
think
ask, right? You should ask. Please ask. Don't say, "Hey, oh, क्या पूछे?" But it's the best
I
time to ask.
was I was lost with that concept, that point regarding Brahman only. So I thought I'll read later and then ask.
No, ask, right? I can put again if it needs to be. What about it?
Also, you were sharing one shloka right now. That also I don't remember what it was.
Vamshi Vibhushi Karan.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
okay, okay, okay. So
that
that part, and then what about Brahman?
this thing which I wrote.
Hmm.
Oh, not in Saraswati. I wrote something else. Uh, yeah, liberation of gunas. Is that last part you were saying, that in this chapter where they are saying that?
So the essence of chapter, Sri Vishwanath Thakur is saying that the chapter starting in start of chapter describes the misfortune of being born by the gunas,
Mm.
and at the end it talks about the satisfaction of being freed from the gunas by bhakti. Because remember, Arjuna asked three questions, right?
Mm.
What does the person do? What is the person behavior? The characteristics, a person who has gone beyond the gunas, and how does the person go beyond the gunas? Remember, the third question. He has three questions in the 14th
Yeah,
chapter, right?
yeah.
So the answer to the third question is verse number 26. The previous to this, last but one verse. Mam cho abhyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. That is the answer to the third question. How can one go beyond the gunas? Bhakti yogena sevate. Mam abhyam, doing bhakti undeviated, pure bhakti towards me. Sargunan samadhita, you can completely transcend the gunas. You shall say. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
makes sense.
Okay.
And that Madhusudan Saraswati.
Ah.
Um,
So Madhusudan Saraswati is one of the commentators to Bhagavad Gita. Okay. But he was an impersonalist.
he was a what?
Impersonalist. He
Impersonalist.
used to, his goal is was Brahman, merge in Brahma Jyoti, the
Okay.
Jnani Yogi.
Okay.
Okay. But Shri Vishwanath Thakur takes his name very respectfully. Why? Because even though he's a Jnani Yogi, he had a wonderful realization of Krishna as a Param Tattva. That is the verse we talked about. Krishna's Param Kimapi Tattvam Aham na jane. I don't know anything, any
Anything other
tattva
than Krishna.
beyond Krishna as a Param Tattva.
Okay.
So his end realization is that Krishna is the the realization. That's why our acharyas have quoted him also in their commentary. No other impersonalist commentary our acharyas have quoted.
Okay.
So that is, I was talking about them because Shri Vishwanath Thakur writes a verse, quotes a verse written by him of his commentary to this particular verse.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So, and that in that, he very beautifully says that I offer respect to son of Nanda, the joy personified, who is the essence of all beauty, the supreme Brahman. To hear, he says that Krishna is supreme Brahman, he's saying that. He's not saying that Krishna, Brahma's taken a form. No, he is supreme Brahman, he's Brahman right there. Right?
Yes.
So, in that, with this beautiful verse, I quoted that particular verse. That's it.
Great.
Is everything clear now?
This is clear now.
Okay. Anything else? Meaning? Mhm. Okay. Oh, sorry. Remember, everything clear? Operations clear? Nothing remaining? No doubt. Krishna says, Samshayatma Vinashyati. There should no doubt left. So please to ask, okay? Okay, so we'll go to the next chapter. We have time. Your permission? Vriksha, you say something?
Can we start next chapter next week, Prabhu?
Okay, sure, why not? We can do that. Okay, so just give brief introduction to the next chapter and then we'll
Sure.
wrap up. Okay. So chapter 4 describes the modes of nature, right? Now, um, and that those forces simultaneously restrict and control his soul. Not control soul basically in the sense that they cannot mix, but because soul misidentifies with the body, and that body is controlled by the modes of nature. So that soul is controlled indirectly. Okay. Now Krishna using an allegory of Ashwatha tree, the inverted banana people tree, describes the entire material world, which is varieties of fields of activity situated higher. So Krishna describes a lower, higher branches of trees, being the tree being the allegory of the entire world, universe, material world. Okay, so Krishna jump into that particular verse. Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I'll ask any questions before we wrap up. We'll chat with till next week.
Thank you
Once,
so much, Prabhu.
yes,
Very nice.
thank you.
Thank you so
Prabhu,
much,
I was
Prabhu.
feeling, Prabhu, how nicely we are doing chapter 15 closer to the Purushottaman month coming up, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, May
May
17th,
17th, Prabhu, yeah.
right? Yeah, very nice. Purushottam Mas Purushottam Yoga. Yeah, we will be discussing Purushottam Yoga during that time. Very nicely put, yeah. So much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Krishna. Please take care.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Krishna.
Yeah.